Hey, thank you for joining us at Prophecy in the News. I'm your host, Kevin Clarkson, joined in the studio today by Pastor Billy Crone. Billy does a lot of research on end-time related events, advances in technology, world happenings, all the things of the pieces fitting together, and it's a pleasure to have him in our studio today. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Clarkson. It's great to be on.
Well, you're not only a researcher and writer and presenter, but more importantly, you're a child of God, and you're a dad and a
Yep.
husband and pastor of a local church.
Yeah. Praise God. God's certainly been good to me. He's been merciful,
Amen.
especially with my background. And it's just, I remember 9 months after I got saved, after I got saved, I from a non-church background and basically, the only reason why I went to Bible college and then later seminary is because about 2 weeks old in the Lord, I read the Bible and closed it and simply said, hey, God, I want to know more. Next day I woke up with the idea in my head, go to Bible college, which I thought I'd be disqualified for. I thought that's only for people related to Pat Boone or something. That's not me. That's not my background. A creature of the streets and stuff of that nature. But long story short, getting equipped in the Scripture, and it was about 9 months later I got my first internship, and I thought I was like born again. I was like, are you serious? I was just glad to not go to hell for what I did, and I'm going to heaven. But now I get to serve Jesus. I get to do something, and so it's a privilege as a Christian to get to serve Christ in any capacity.
May we never lose sight of that.
Amen.
Amen.
In spite of us is a phrase I use all the time. In spite of us.
In spite of us. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, we're here to talk today about one of your newer books, Drones, Artificial Intelligence, and the Coming Human Annihilation.
Yeah.
And we've already done a discussion about the drone aspect.
Yeah.
But we dedicated a whole nother program to AI.
Yeah, that's a hot topic, huh?
Well, it's just now becoming
Yes.
Circulating in the general public's consciousness.
Yeah.
Some of us have been, pulsing this thing for years because we read Kurzweil's warning about the singularity, and we've thought something going on here. But
Yeah.
boy, I tell you, it's getting front and center now.
Yeah, it is. And again, it's not, it's what I reiterate, it's not coming, it's already here. And it's already here in a multitude of forms, right? And of course you go, well, what's that got to do with the Bible? Well, now you're back to Daniel chapter 12, right?
Right.
That
I had my Bible open there.
Okay.
What a coincidence.
Yay,
And we were
shocker.
talking earlier. May I? The Lord is talking, Daniel's closing up his book, and the Lord says in verse 4, Daniel 12, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased.
Yeah.
Well, we've observed the acceleration of travel and knowledge, but we're exponential today.
Yeah. Well, and that's the key word there,
That
right?
is.
We got, we even I've shared statistically, like we got so much information we don't even know what to do with. In fact, I even that you mentioned travel, that's a whole nother topic. But that sign there from travel and knowledge from Daniel chapter 12, I call that, to use the term, it's kind of like a sleeper sign. Because those particular signs, that's what we eat, live, and breathe. We are completely immersed in it.
Right.
And because we're immersed in it, I think we don't recognize the significance of it, right? It's all about travel. Of course we travel. I travel to come here. You would drive here. We drive more. Everybody's got their own car. Travel's even being automated. You don't need to drive anymore. It'll drive it for you, right? And it's growing exponentially, right?
Right.
Well, we don't think about it. That's a major mega prophecy sign. From the book of Daniel, but so it is with knowledge. We got more knowledge we know what to do with. The average newspaper today has more information in it than a person in the 17th century would have come across their entire lifetime. And that's just one newspaper. Well, thanks to the internet, right? We got thousands of them available at our fingertips every day. We got, and what do? We just, if we even get a newspaper now it's mostly automated online.
Yeah.
We just line that with the bird cage. That's more information in that bird cage than somebody would have their entire life. With the watches today have more computing power than the original lunar lander on the moon. It's just a watch, right? Our cell phones are so advanced. We have, in fact, it's estimated, I couldn't believe this stat we came across, they're estimating we're going to generate what's called 4 exabytes worth of information this year. Exabytes. Now that number's so big. Yeah.
But we're up to exabytes.
Yeah, exabytes. They're saying that's as much information in the previous 5,000 years.
Yeah. My thoughts how much of it's useful.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably a fractional slice, but anyway.
Speaking of, is it useful? With all due respect, social media, that's a whole other information. As we share information, is it used to be they would be the 3rd largest country, but now If Facebook today
We're a
were a
nation.
country, it's the largest country on the planet.
Wow.
China has a population, I think, about 137 billion. Facebook is now over 2 billion people. So, but that tells you about influence, but it tells you it's this information. I got information, you got information, I want your information, we share information. Sometimes it gets shared, speaking of Facebook, whether you want the information shared, but we are completely going crazy with this information. We got more information we know what to do with. I got to have it now. We have the internet, search engines, 2.5 million emails are sent every second. It's just crazy, all this. But guess what? It's leading to a point where secularists are saying it's a danger,
Yeah.
right? Daniel said it's leading to the last days. Secularists are saying it's leading to a danger, and that's called singularity.
Right.
And that's their term. And basically, singularity is the point where information grows exponentially so that you develop like an artificial type of intelligence. Well, you get to the point where it finally matches the human brain. Well, then that version of artificial intelligence goes beyond, and it improves itself. Well, that self then improves that self, and then that version improves that version, and then it starts to escalate out of control.
Then we're left in the dust.
And their words, that's not mine. They say at that point, singularity, the human era will have ended,
Yeah.
and machines will take over, right?
I know before he died, Stephen Hawking was very concerned about that.
Yeah.
And, of course, Elon Musk has warned there's a lot to be afraid of with artificial intelligence.
Not only warned, he's using, if you will, our terminology. You look at some of the interviews, which we document, with Elon Musk. A lot of people, who's Elon Musk? He's basically, to use the vernacular, he's like the Tony Stark of today.
Yeah.
You know,
you could say
kind
that.
of like, you know, that kind of figure. And but he's certainly a technology mogul. And but he said, when it comes to artificial intelligence, he's not like concerned about it. He said, his words, not mine, we are summoning up a demon. Now, when as far as I know, a non-Christian says we are summoning up a demon, you might want to take note of what we're doing.
He doesn't know how literally he's speaking either.
Exactly, exactly. But that's, and he's not the only one. You got Steve Wozniak, he's the co-founder of Apple. Most people, he got left in the dust as far as getting the acknowledgement. Steve Jobs got it all basically, but Steve Wozniak was the other guy. He's saying, hey, listen, you know, Bill Gates.
It's
He's saying,
because Jobs was easier to say than Wozniak.
yeah, pretty
Go
much,
ahead.
yeah, and spell. But anyway, but you also got people like again Bill Gates. You mentioned Hawking, but others around the planet. These are, again, with all due respect, I hope they get saved, but secularists.
Yes.
They're not Christians. They're saying it, not me, trying to be an alarmist.
Yeah, they sense the danger.
Exactly. And again, what people don't realize, I think, Dr. Clarkson, certainly, unfortunately, the Christian community, is they don't realize that AI, artificial intelligence, is not just coming, it's already here in a multitude of forms, and they don't put two and two together. This, I truly believe, is a Bible prophecy-related topic.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's relate that, because my mind goes to Revelation 13,
Right.
where
Right.
the Antichrist creates an image that is able to seem alive.
Yeah. Yeah, and you start to wonder. For years, you know, people have different ideas and theories, and I've shared some of my own in the past, but you wonder, like, what is this image? What is this image of the Antichrist? Who's what? Antichrist, opposed to Christ. You know, and we know that he's what? In the halfway point into the 7-year tribulation, what's he going to do? He's going to go into the rebuilt Jewish temple and what? Declare himself to be, Paul says, God. So here's the Antichrist, a fake Messiah, a guy who says that he's God, and then people want to worship him. You need to worship him to get the mark of the beast, etc. It says it there, I think, 4 times in Revelation 13, and they worship the beast. They worship the beast, right? So people are really going to worship a false god, right? And then, but it says not just him, but the image. Well, what's this image of this false god? You're thinking, nobody's going to do that. That's just crazy. Well, first of all, if you understand artificial intelligence, there's people right now on the planet who are ready and willing and already starting their own churches to worship AI. It's not coming. It's already here. One of them is an ex-Google exec, Anthony Lewandowski, and he's already registered with the IRS. It's called the Way of the Future Church, right? And where they want to worship AI as God. This is their new God. and they want their own religious, quote, church service to worship this entity.
Right.
And they said, he said in his right, he said, well, if something's billions of times more smarter than humans, what else are you going to call it besides God? And then almost, I don't know what his motive was with this, it's blasphemy, certainly. I don't know if it's tongue-in-cheek or being a mocker like I used to be before God had mercy on me. But he even made the statement with this God, the AI God, at least you'll have the benefit of knowing that it is hearing your prayers.
Wow.
That when you're communicating to it, it's listening to you, is what he said by and large. It's like, wow, what a replacement. And again, that's not coming. That's already here.
Right.
So back to the image of the Antichrist, if in fact it's combined with some sort of an AI technology, AI figure, because that's the other half in AI. It's not just a computer program. You could project it into an image, like an avatar, a generated image, or can be put into an AI type robot figure. Either way, we have people on the planet who are ready and willing to worship it for the first time in the history of mankind. It's crazy. It's all it's not coming. It's already here.
Question is, and of course this is part of Kurzweil's definition of singularity. Do you believe that the AI that is now employed has become self-aware, sentient?
Well, there's talks of it. You go to my general rule is this: anything that they'll release to the public, we're 20 years behind the technology. Now, after doing this documentary in this book, Drones, Artificial Intelligence, and Coming Human Annihilation, with back to the military aspect of it, some of the military guys that we interviewed, based on what they shared,
Yes.
I've changed my rule. We're not 20 years behind the technology. We're a good 30, 40, possibly 50 years.
Gee.
It's that far back. And so if you're already releasing to the public entities like Sophia, I'll get to that in a second, Watson from IBM, and Google's, their project, Google Brain, what do you really have? And is it to that level that you're talking about? What we do know, there's one entity traipsing around the planet right now called Sophia, and this is from, I believe, Hanson Robotics, and that basically it's not just AI. They've given AI a robotic body. In fact, recently they finally got her legs. She's now walking around. But it's a humanoid-looking figure, and that communicates an AI called Sophia.
Mm-hmm.
My guess is, if you know Greek, Sophos, meaning wisdom, Sophia, that's probably why they chose that name.
The goddess.
Exactly. But she's not only communicating with humans. We even share an interview. It was like, oops, slip of the tongue, right? And the creator asked her, hey, please tell us that you won't, annihilate the human race. And she comes back, okay, I will annihilate the human race. And it's like, ha, 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 that's not funny,
Yeah.
And but she's gone on record. She's already been, listen, it's in the news. She's been accepted as a citizen of Saudi Arabia, as a real person in Saudi Arabia.
Why Saudi Arabia?
I have no clue. I don't know if they're trying to be far advanced or thinking, but it's on record. Also on record is she's been noted and given a title by the United Nations, and she's basically going around the planet, and she's becoming a spokeswoman, so to speak, for AI. She's even gone on record saying that she wants to have her own career. She wants to have her own baby. You know what the name of the baby is?
No.
Sophia. She wants to name her baby after herself. It's just kind of weird. But she also, in her conversations, this AI figure, Sophia, that she admits that developing AI, there's only two outcomes. This is what she's coughing up with her artificial intelligence.
Two outcomes.
There's only two outcomes. And either this is going to basically benefit mankind, or basically it's the beginning of the end. This is coming from the AI.
Yeah.
Right? So how far, that's what's in the public, that's what's being released is my point, to hopefully answer your question. What do you really got? What's really out there? You go back to IBM. IBM has their version called Watson. Watson is not just out there. Watson's been out there for a long time. And they're pitching Watson to be what you need to help with your business, to help with your inventory, to help do your taxes, right? Watson, the AI from IBM, could save the day. We even talk about it's not coming, it's been here for a long time. In 2011, they used Watson to beat the two best human champions in the history of Jeopardy. They put those two humans up against Watson in 2011. Watson beat their pants off. Basically, that was 2011.
Yeah.
What do you got today? How far advanced is it? How close are we really to this singularity point where machines can take over, eclipse way above exponentially human intelligence, and then leads to what Daniel said is the sign of the end.
Hmm.
It's a lot closer than people realize.
It is. Well, we have been visiting with Billy Crone, and we're going to talk some more, but wanted to let you know you could learn more about this with a copy of his newest, or one of his newest books, called Drones, Artificial Intelligence, and the Coming Human Annihilation. And we would love to get this in your hands, in your mailbox, or whatever you prefer. You can order this, as always, by going to the website on your screen, prophecyinthenews.com. We have an online bookstore. It's safe, it's secure, it's quick, it's easy. Or you can call the 800 number on the screen, and one of our operators will be glad to assist you with placing an order. But we would love for you to have this information. Well, as you put this together in your presentation and then in this book, where do you see this actually being stopped or being harnessed during the 7-year tribulation?
Well, I think ultimately this is going to be part of the tools utilized to pull off some of those events. We mentioned Daniel chapter 12, the increase of knowledge, but we mentioned Revelation 13. In Revelation 13, again, you got a micromanaging of the planet.
Right.
And with just not only being able to know who's doing what, where, kind of a big brother scenario. Certainly AI comes into play. AI now is being pitched as we put it into place. In fact, most people don't realize it's already being put into places to do what's called predictive policing.
Mm-hmm.
We document, it's already being done in LA. Most people don't know. It's already being done in England. And they're letting AI basically take over all their big brother equipment, and it can predict when the next crime is coming. And they're saying, most people don't even know it's already being used on them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're saying, and statistically, we're showing that we can stop these crimes before they happen. What is this, Minority Report with Tom Cruise? Yes, that's exactly what AI is doing. So it's a big brother on steroids. They'll know anything where everybody's doing what you're thinking, so certainly with that. Revelation 13 deals with the mark of the beast. Mark of the beast is some sort of a marking device on people with the right hand and the forehead to control what you buy and sell. So now you're dealing with the economy, you're dealing with products, you're dealing with real-time transactions. You're just going, well, what's that got to do with AI? Well, first of all, on a global scale, how are you going to do that? I mean, how are you going to literally micromanage the whole planet on every product, every transaction? That's superhuman. You're going to need a superhuman intelligence to monitor that whole system. And I think AI can certainly play in that. And I don't think that for just a conspiracy reason of my own making. Back to IBM, who's already developed AI called Watson, right? That's their version. The other one we talked about was Sophia. Their version is called Watson. Well, IBM just happens to also be the same corporation who is developed for decades go back to Revelation 13, Mark of the Beast, another technology called RFID. RFID stands for Radio Frequency Identification. It's a computer chip, a marking device that can be affixed to any product, any person, any animal, any pet, anywhere on the planet. And basically it does three things for you, this RFID technology. It can be used to store and receive information. It can be used as a tracking device, and wonder of wonders, the same exact technology can be used to make electronic financial transactions, right? We demonstrate how IBM is already, their goal stated by their own commercials, that they want every single product on the planet microchipped so that they can monitor the global supply chain at any time, number one. Number two, based on their own commercials, they apparently want people microchipped too, because on their own commercials, it's still out there, IBM, they show on their commercial a guy who's got this long overcoat on, and he's going into a grocery store, and he's just stuffing stuff into his coat, and then people are looking at him, and they're looking at him like he's stealing stuff, whatever, and he just keeps loading up his jacket full of stuff. And here is security guards looking at him, and he's getting close to the checkout. There's no person there. He just goes through, and he's scanned, and then here comes that security guard. They go, aha, they're finally going to arrest him. Well, the security guard comes behind him. He says, excuse me, sir, and he rips off the receipt that automatically printed when he was scanned, and they said, forgot your receipt.
Yeah.
This is a commercial from IBM, and they said, checkout lines, who needs them? So basically, apparently with IBM, you want to have every product chipped, every person chipped. Why? Because you create a global chain of everybody being microchipped, every product, so they can be all automated. What's that? That's Revelation 13. Now, so guess what? They also happen to be developing, it's already developed, an artificial intelligence called Watson. I'm not going to say thus saith the Lord, but what did you do Watson for? Because you need an artificial intelligence to control what people buy and sell on a global basis. I'm not making this up. The same entity's doing the whole thing. You want to talk about crazy entity, with all due respect, Google. We talked about the ex-Google guy, Anthony Lewandowski, with the Way of the Future Church to worship AI. Google, we got him on tape, admitted back in the day when they started with it, Google, that had nothing to do with the search engine. One guy we shared, he said that, why are you doing, we already got Alta Vista, Lycos, Hotbot. Remember all that Dogpile back in the day? That was, we got tons of search engines. So he asked them, Larry Page, one of the two co-founders, Sergey Brin, the other one, said, why are you guys developing another search engine? We got all this stuff. They says, we're not here to develop a search engine. We're here to create AI, right? That's what they're all about. In fact, it's still in print. They admitted, the co-founders of Google, that they, quote, want to be like the mind of God.
Yeah.
And this is what they're up to. In fact, when I did the section there on the history of artificial intelligence, it's been going on for quite some time. In the 40s, 50s, they came across a problem. It was called the this is their term, common sense knowledge problem. And basically what they were saying is there's no shortcuts to mimicking the human brain. If you're going to create AI, an electronic brain, an artificial brain, a human brain, right, you have to hand feed it information every day in order for that to be created.
Right.
You can't shortcut that. Just like with us, how do we develop our intelligence? Every day we receive intelligence, information through the eyes, the ears, the five senses, right? Well, that was their common sense knowledge problem. So we have to, if we're going to create AI, every day we have to hand feed it information as it begins to grow and develop like a human brain. Now you back that up to what Google's been doing.
Yes.
They already said they're here to create AI. They already said they want to be like the mind of God. We expose a project they're working on. It's called Google Books. Google Books is they're going all over the world. Major universities, even monasteries, libraries, they're going in there on their own dime, millions of dollars. They're scanning in every book they can get their hands on. They're feeding it into a centralized database system. On top of that, they've got Google email. They've got Google Photos. They got Google Satellite. They got Google Search Engine. Everything you're searching is being tracked and monitored. It's all being fed into this database. And you're going, well, what's that for? We'll go back to the common sense knowledge problem. If you're going to create an AI, if you're going to be like the mind of God, create your own false God, then what do you got to do? Every day you have to hand feed this information. And that's what Google's been up to.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They're fulfilling their goal to create an artificial intelligence. They want to be, and this is the race. Who can create it first? AI to basically govern the planet. And I think, I'm not going to say thus saith the Lord, it makes you wonder if in fact that's the type of technology that the Antichrist and the false prophet will tap into to micromanage the planet.
Well, it seems very probable to me. And it seems like AI doesn't take over in the scenario because the Antichrist is going to survive till the end and lead the armies of the world against Jerusalem, and then Jesus will return.
Yeah.
So apparently the machines have not taken over at that point, but it will be harnessed and used, I believe, clearly.
Oh yeah, yeah. In order, because what you're doing is it's on a superhuman level.
Yeah.
We just don't have the intelligence, the capabilities to manage the whole system. But computers can.
Yeah.
And a singleized human mimic brain of artificial intelligence can. They can handle that load. We can't. And that's the game. And again, I had talked before about you got comments. This isn't just some conspiracy theory. You got comments from Putin who basically said, it's still in print, not that long ago, that basically whoever creates true AI first controls the world. That's a major player.
Yeah.
Right? So you got corporations around the world developing artificial intelligence. It's not coming, it's already here. You got militaries around the world, including Russia, around the world that's developing this technology. The problem is they're running into a problem. They've already created it, and everybody's trying to upscale the next guy in this crazy race. But they've already run into some problems. Speaking of Russia, we document this. Not that long ago, they had an AI robot, it's called Promobot, over in Russia that escaped. One of the, it sounds crazy, man, but it escaped its lab, right? I'm not kidding you.
Ran away from
because
home.
the engineer left the gate open. The AI robot escaped its lab, and it blocked some traffic. They basically got it back to the lab. The engineer said, we've actually reprogrammed it twice and it still keeps trying to escape. And their words, not mine. It has a yearn for freedom.
They
said
not controllable.
right,
either.
and they said other robots of the same type, they don't do this, but this one, quote, their terms, not mine, has a yearn for freedom. So it's coming out of control. Again, back to Sophia, the old slip of the tongue. Okay, I will destroy humanity. I mean, that's the game. You're hoping that, oh, we'll just type in the code and it'll never turn on humans. Really? You hope not, right? Oh, and then speaking of, most people don't even realize this, Facebook, that's hot in the news, right?
That's the latest.
Zuckerberg's getting ready to go before Congress, right? Sharing this information. Well, what they utilize and to run their machinery and to get this information, most people don't realize, is AI.
Yeah.
The Facebook uses AI.
Well, it's the only way to manage that much information.
Exactly. And again, back to Revelation 13, how are you going to micromanage the planet? I don't think it's that far stretching to think that AI is going to be a part of that process. But back to that, Facebook, I wonder if they're going to ask them this at Congress. Engineers got freaked out. And again, it's still in the news. 2 of their AI programs that Facebook used created their own language. And when the engineers saw them going back and forth, it looked like gobbledygook. They thought it was just whatever. They begin to realize there's intelligence behind it. And they realize that they developed their own language. And they're starting to talk to each other. But they don't know what it means. They could tell it's some form of intelligent communication. You know what they did?
I've heard inklings of this.
It freaked them out so bad, we got it documented, it freaked them out so bad they actually pulled the plug on the system to shut it down. It had developed its own language, and it started to begin to communicate, and we had no
communicating around
clue.
the human engineers.
And they had no clue what it was saying.
Yeah.
So this is not coming, it's already here.
Right.
And again, it's not a time to be fearful. I think the ultimate culmination of all this, again, is going to be in the 7-year tribulation. The Bible's clear. The church is going to be raptured prior to that event. So what's the point? If we see the events that's going to culminate in the 7-year tribulation, and we go prior, then logically, how much closer then is the rapture of the church, which takes place prior? We don't know the day nor the hour,
Right.
but if we see the machinery to pull this off here now, available for the first time in mankind's history, this event has got to be getting close.
Yeah.
And so is that bad? No. I don't know about you, Dr. Clarkson, but I think you would agree. Last time I checked, the rapture and going to heaven, hey, that's a little bit better than here.
I think so.
That's not bad news. That's great news. That's
Well,
the best
amen.
case scenario.
Well,
And
amen.
that means Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, who saved us by his mercy, he's coming back to get us.
Amen.
And if you love him, that's not bad news. That's good news. You long for his appearing.
Amen. Well, thank you, Pastor Billy Crone. And Jesus is coming again, so we're going to keep looking up.